15 degrees, you can see your breath. Out here in the lake effect, breaking tables like it's poetry. Where else would you rather be? Pinto, Ron, Elvis, and the lay poncho. The members that you need to know. 'Cause once you out here, now your family. Where else would you rather be? Where else would you rather be?
Welcome into the Nickel City Crew. I am your host, Rob Crippen. Please like us on Facebook and follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Nickel City Crew. This episode, along with all of our episodes, are presented by Crippen Legacy Entertainment here on Spreaker and StreamYard. We're so glad that you're joining us for some of your Buffalo Bills and NFL content again today. And as always, these are my Bills thoughts said out loud.
It's a vibe so ridiculous. Since 12 plus 83 was 6. The shout cracking like a symphony. Where else would you rather be?
All right, let's get straight to it. Really excited for tonight's episode. Click, clack. We are back in the building. You see the new digs here at Chateau de Crippen at the Crippen King's house. I am really excited because this is the time of year that it's okay to question everything. It's okay to wonder what your team's going to be. It's okay to wonder as the new season approaches, how all the puzzle pieces going to fit. How is everything just going to come together? I mean, all 32 teams, all the different fan bases have optimism this time of year for the most part. And we're no different here in Bills Mafia, Nickel City Crew. But I've got a couple things to get off my chest today. Joining me, as always, riding shotgun, my co-host, Adam Dump Truck Rupsick. Check him out on Instagram and Twitter at Adam Rupsick, RUPCZYK. Holla at the crew, DT. Click, clack. We back, man. What's good? You like the new digs? You see it? What's up, man? You see the
I
new
like
studio?
Rob. What's up, Nickel City? What's up, Rob? Yeah, the new studio, looking good in there. It looks like you got a few more things up. It's not as spaced out as last one, so you're in ready to roll and show off your lore, man. It's years and years of collecting. You got to show the team. I got to up my game here. I got to get my office situation going. Get myself my own little setup. We're way too far into this to not be set up like you. So that's next. I'm back. We're rolling Nickel City, and damn, here we are in the start of summer. And we talk about football is a long way away. We're creeping into under 90 days here pretty soon, Rob. After the weekend, we'll be under 90 days, and you really see it with the NBA finals starting tonight, the NHL finals starting this weekend. It's like, damn, when those are over, sports other than baseball,
it's gonna be slim pickings.
is over. So till we kick. So the realization set in, and OTAs to kind of keep our itch going, and it'll be training camp in no time. And then just like every year, it's kickoff, and then it's Christmas and New Year, and we're talking about the Super Bowl. So ready to rock, ready to roll. Nickel City, click clack, we back. Good show tonight. Let's ride.
Yeah. I can't wait, man. I appreciate you joining me tonight as always, and appreciate the fans tonight. Again, hit us up in the comments section. We're here. We're live. We've got over 100 people already jumping in, so we appreciate all of the members of the Mafia Nickel City Crew hopping on tonight. Tonight's Dollar Wing night, so we're getting ready to hit up Dollar Wings at Al's. I've got some big plans coming up for the season. I'm still working on those, hoping to maybe get some live shows going from Al's. So just stay tuned. Stay tuned on that. Stay tuned on that.
You don't have to tell me twice about getting wings.
Yeah, man. I've already talked to the owner there, and I'm really excited. So I got to make some more headway. So I've kind of had this little tradition going with my Kings, with the boys, and we go out there on Thursdays, Dollar Wing Night, and I think that would just be something perfect throughout the season, just to kind of keep something going like that. So shout out to all of the Bills Mafia members again, Nickel City Crew. Shout out 716 Sports Blizzard. What's good, Robbie? We love you in the building, man. Thanks for tuning in tonight. Now, as I was saying, DT, this is the time of year where it's okay to question things. It's okay to ponder different things that you're worried about or that you might be concerned about. That might be bothering anything like that. And I've been going back and forth on Twitter. You already know that I've been having some battles on Twitter most recently the last couple of months. And it's just funny because, Twitter is like a place where I'm able to kind of let out some of my takes. And it's kind of a place where I'm able to all right, let's try this on for size. And I've been kind of enjoying it because as we had that episode with our Twitter buddies, it's a situation where people are going to let you know where they feel like literally immediately. And I've been really enjoying that interaction. DT, I've got to get this off my chest, and that's why I named the episode the way that I did. I mean, what really happened, DT, after the Stephon Diggs trade? Because I could have swore everybody wanted to tell me that would listen that, oh yeah, Brandon Beane's got something else, up his sleeve. Oh yeah, that's not it. I mean, he's going to target Ayuk, or he's going to target another big name fish or something like that. And I look around this wide receiver room, DT, and I'm like, word. Like this is really what we get ready to do. and I don't want to, I don't want to sound like I'm down on the season before it even starts, but I got to be honest, DT, I'm just wondering what the hell's going on, because no Ayuk trade, regardless of what San Francisco's been talking about, DT, it seems like he could be on the block, because I don't think they can keep him and Samuel long term. And then I'm just wondering what the hell is going on, because this wide receiver room, DT, to me is bottom 5 in the league. And I know we talked about it in the wide receiver by committee episode, but I got to relive it because I've been having some Twitter battles, man. This is really what we're getting ready to do, TT. This is it. This is what we get ready to roll out.
I'm guilty. I'm guilty because I was the one sitting here telling you that. He's got a plan. He's got the ace up his sleeve. He wouldn't do this unless there was a plan coming. So,
it's your fault.
I said it straight up. But, hey, we just hit the June 1st, and we saw we got a few bucks on the table. Even after the rookies are signed, we got a few bucks on the table. That we're not dead yet. We haven't kicked off yet. There's still a lot of, training camp to go, injuries to happen, a lot of veteran, free agents still out there to be signed. So I don't think this is the final roster or final look by any means. Obviously it isn't, that you're going to have to cut half this wide receiver room, before the year starts. But I was guilty. I said it. I thought we might have a little more in store, but it also tells me, what they did have in store is Keon Coleman to be the future number one of this franchise. I'm not saying he's going to happen this year. He's got to grow. Every rookie does, but this was, this, I guess, was the plan. This was the ace in the hole, to get a big rookie to come in and reset the market in price wise and help your cap in all those areas and be a productive receiver. So amongst other things, there's a lot of other names kind of brought in and a lot of question marks there for sure. But tonight, I think we'll get into it. I'll be the analytics guy tonight, Rob. I'll be the numbers guy tonight. I got some strictly numbers to go over with you that as we see opportunity as we go forward. I'll see what you think about these numbers, and it's more, as we know, there's passion. There's a lot of other things included in this game than just the analytics and number side. But this is what I'm going to use to kind of justify some points tonight. So let's get into it, baby. I will admit fault. I thought there was going to be a bigger ace in the sleeve, but if this is it, I'm okay to go to battle with it, and I'll tell you why.
Okay. All right. Well, I can't wait for you to talk me off the ledge, because it is a situation where I'm starting to look up and down that list, and you're absolutely right. I think there's 14 receivers that are getting ready to come to camp. So we've got a little bit of everything to choose from. They seem to be going a little bit bigger with their free agent pickups after Keon Coleman was drafted. With I see you out there, Robbie, asking about thoughts on MVS, and we'll get to that as well. He's another big receiver. Same thing with Claypool, I guess, was the mini camp hero coming up out of mini camps, and the OTA hero. So they said that he's been flashing, whatever the case may be. Bills got $10 million. Bills Mafia, Nickel City Crew got $10 million from the Trey White release on the 1st of the month. So Brandon Beane does have some wiggle room. He's got some stuff to play with. Now, there's been some speculation. Is he going to try to go get another edge rusher? It seems like this wide receiver room is pretty much set. One of the things and one of the main battles that I've been having on Twitter, DT, and one of the reasons why I needed to talk to you tonight was because of the fact that everybody keeps talking to me about, well, everybody's going to eat and we're going to be spreading the ball around. Even Joe Brady himself, when he had his media availability, said everybody is going to eat. And one of the things that I don't know if it bothers me, but one of the things that concerns me about that, DT, is when you've got that number one wide receiver like we had with Stephon Diggs, it doesn't really matter about matchups or the defensive game plan. It did not matter. When Dable was the offensive coordinator, even when Dorsey was the offensive coordinator, they found ways to feed the ball to Steph Diggs because of the fact that he was the best option for them to feed the ball to. And then not only did they feed the ball to him, but he was successful in that role. So what I'm wondering is, with this whole everybody is going to eat approach, it sounds like some shit that teams without wide receiver ones would say. And I've been having a tough time reconciling that, because to me, Kansas City is not the model. Everybody wants to hit me up on Twitter and talk, well, Kansas City, and they just won a Super Bowl without it. Kansas City went after and attacked wide receiver this offseason with Hollywood Brown and obviously drafting Xavier Worthy. They don't want to be that shitty at wide receiver. So I push back at that rhetoric that, Kansas City is running some type of model or anything like that. They don't want to be weak at wide receiver. They understood that they had drop issues. They understood that they did not have high-end talent. So everybody can miss me with that whole comparison. They want to be better at receiver. So the fact that they won the Super Bowl and got lucky, hey, that just, you chalk it up to the game and obviously congrats to them. But they understand that they want to be better at wide receiver. So obviously the Bills should want to be better. And I just keep hearing about this spread the ball mentality. DT, talk to me about your feelings on spread the ball, because when I hear it, sometimes I feel like it's the poor man's, well, we don't have a wide receiver one, so we're going to have 4 guys that have 40 catches, or we're going to have 6 guys that have 20 catches. I don't even know if that's realistic. I don't know, when I look up and down the wide receiver room, if that's something that we should expect. I did know that when we had 14 and when we needed yards or we needed a first down, I knew where Josh Allen was going. Josh Allen knew where he was going. The defense knew where he was going, and he still got it done. And because of that void that leaves in the wide receiver room, it makes me just nervous, man. When I hear that shit, it sounds weak to me. I'm that's just my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, they're saying everybody eats, and you're saying it's an excuse because we don't have a wide receiver number one. Well, I think that's true. I think there will be a wide receiver number one that emerges out of this group that will be the go-to guy for 1-7 as we go through the year. But what's Brady supposed to say in this situation? Like, yes, this guy we're throwing to this guy. He's going to be our wide receiver one. I think as I'm pumped up for this training camp, I keep saying, because it's going to be one of the most competitive training camps we have seen in recent years. There's more spots available than any, and the dogs will come forward and the dogs will play. And I think a true wide receiver one will come forth. I would love it to be Keon Coleman, and we just start the Peyton Manning to Andrew Luck type of situation where Diggs leaves and Keon Coleman comes in and picks it right back up. That would obviously be seamless and awesome. But as I talked earlier, let's get into some quick numbers here. So we go down, and I will back up kind of the everybody eats method, but very conservatively, conservatively. Let's look down through our top 5 pass catchers, other than, obviously, Diggs and Davis are gone. Okay, so let's take them out of here.
Shakir's the only one back that has caught a pass from Josh Allen.
Yep, so we have Dalton Kincaid. Okay.
Yep.
Dalton Kincaid, 73 catches last year as a rookie. Pretty impressive. I think that's a successful rookie year for Kincaid, and all signs are leading him to have a breakout year. Fantasy people are loving him to have a breakout season. He's got a few more trusts. He knows the league. He knows what it feels like to get hit out here. He's going to be hopefully better. So at 73 catches, 700 yards, only 2 touchdowns, Rob.
Right.
If he can, again, these are conservative upticks. He goes up to 83.
Okay.
So 10 catches, give me 200 more yards. He doesn't even have to get 1,000. Just get me around 900 yards.
Okay.
And then go up 4 touchdowns. Get me 6 touchdowns. From 2 to 6, go up 4. Then we go to the next on the list, Khalil Shakir. 39 catches, only 45 targets. Wasn't on the field a lot. He caught everything that came to him. If he can go up, this is going to be my biggest increase. This is, out of anybody here, this is my biggest increase. 39, 602. Okay, he goes up to in that 70-ish range. Give me, a couple hundred more yards, 2 more touchdowns even. Or 4 more. Get to 6 with Kincaid. Okay. Then you get into James Cook. James Cook kind of showed he could be, even though he had some big drops last year.
I was just about to talk shit.
A pass catching back for Josh Allen, and I think he's gotten better. He had his first play from scrimmage is a fumble, and he's learned from that. And he's had those touchdowns he's dropped. He's also caught a few nice ones from Josh, and Josh doesn't mind throwing to him out of the backfield. I think he's going to be more included at 44, 450, and 4. He doesn't have to go up much. Give me 10 more catches. Give me 100-ish, 150 more yards. 2 more touchdowns. Okay. Then we go Dawson Knox, 22 catches, 180 yards last year. Battled injury, wasn't on the field a lot. This whatever they're in, 11 prime. I don't want to hear anything about 11 personnel or anything this offseason. That's all we heard about last offseason, whatever. But he's going to get on the field. I see him having more than 22 catches in the year. I'm not looking for him to be a focal point. I think Kincaid takes that over and is the primary tight end target. But he can go up 20 catches and a couple hundred yards, maybe 2 more touchdowns. So just with that, just with those guys, before we bring anybody new on the team, just with those guys, Gabe Davis, Stephon Diggs gave us 150 catches, 1,800-ish yards, 15 touchdowns. The two of them, that's their stat line last year. So if all those increases happen, that leaves us with 75, 1,000, and 12. So
Okay.
they're a lot lower in catches, only half the catches Gabe, and this is with the increase
Right,
of these
right,
guys. Okay.
right.
They only have
I'm
half
with
the
you.
catches, Gabe Davis and Stephon Diggs have. They're 1,000 less yards, but they're right in there touchdown wise. Okay.
Okay.
So that brings me to my next point. So you need to make up 75 catches, 800 yards, and 3 touchdowns between Curtis Samuel, Keon Coleman, MVS,
Claypool.
Between those 4 guys, you got to come up with 75 catches, 803. That, I think all those numbers I just gave you
Are attainable.
upticks are conservative upticks. I'm not saying they're going from 700 to 1,500 yards. They're just gradual increases in everybody's game. That's not even including who's second string running back, what they're getting, anything
Ray
like
Davis.
that. Deontay Hardy and Trent Sherfield gave us nothing.
Nothing.
Absolutely nothing.
Nothing.
So if Claypool and MBS are a little better than them, and Keon Coleman has 50 catches, and Curtis Samuel has his normal, 40 to 50 catches, we well eclipse the stat numbers of Gabe Davis and Stephon Diggs. And I'm not, like you said, this isn't a guarantee. There's a lot of variables. There's a lot of things that can happen. But it just was real eye-opening to me when I kind of broke those numbers down of it's very attainable to cover up those 2 guys off. There's a lot of other things that are going to be hard to cover up: the intensity, the leadership, the go-to, the confidence. That all has to be grown. But again, training camp, open opportunity to get that done. The statistics are attainable.
Okay. Interesting. And I like the way that you broke that down by keeping it modest, because sometimes people go crazy and they're like, well, we already have it, and Keon Coleman's going to come in and he's just going to take over everything. I'm like, that is just not realistic. And I've been going back and forth with people, like I said, on Twitter about it, because the fact that I just want everybody's expectations to be in the right place. And it's not that I don't believe in the receivers. It's just the fact that you go down the list, we've got a rookie. Okay. So we know that there's a learning curve. We know that there's, adjustments to the NFL game and different things like that. I know that, we love his personality and all the type of stuff, but even as he admitted to, all of the comedy shit that he does has nothing to do with what goes on in the field. That's all that matters. So I love the fact that he's self-aware enough to know that that's the most important thing. So there's definitely some rookie growing pains that you can expect with Keon Coleman. Curtis Samuel, DT, if I'm keeping it funky, yes, everybody tells me that he's never played with a great quarterback. I understand that. He also has never really done shit either. I mean, he had a decent year in Washington one year. Carolina was, it was what it was, but there was never a situation where he's popped off the screen. He's been more of I think I look at him like a souped up Isaiah McKenzie. How about that? You know what I mean? Sure. I look at him as an Isaiah McKenzie, but just better catcher, better route runner, all around better receiver than Isaiah McKenzie, but still that kind of that gadget guy or a window dressing type of guy. Shakir, obviously the only, again, wide receiver to catch passes from Josh Allen that's returning this year. He did flash at the end of the year. You're absolutely right. He caught everything that went his way, but he didn't have the, the volume. Now, what is it going to be when he's pressed into a situation where he's taken 3 times as many snaps, that type of thing. So I'm interested to see that. MVS.
That's the most crucial one. That's the most crucial run, Rob. I mean, Shakir has to have that step. And I don't know if he'll be the number 1 at the end of the day, but he will be a starting player in fantasy lineups. He has to be. For us to be successful, he has to be, a true guy. So, yeah.
And then you look at MVS and Claypool, and both of those guys have a story. What was MVS's story? Again, shout out to Robbie, who asked us about it. I mean, listen, when I think of MVS, Robbie, I think of the fact that he had drop problems in KC, but then one of the things that I will hang my hat on and kind of gives me a little bit of solace and a little bit of comfort is that when the lights were on, though, in the postseason, especially against us, I mean, he was doing his job. You know what I mean? So that's, if there's any indication about the fact that he's a gamer. So sometimes guys just play better when the lights are on or they're the brightest, and that can't be a trait that is a bad thing to have. So I do have a little bit of hope in that. And then we've got Claypool as a reclamation project. This is a guy who had talent come out of Notre Dame, a second-round pick, had a good first season in Pittsburgh, and then it just kind of falls off. And we talk about the locker room stuff, and obviously we're well adversed with locker room chemistry and different things like that. So I don't know what to expect. Maybe he's on his P's and Q's and he brings everything to the table in this prove it year. And maybe he's still a shithead. I have no idea if he's ready to turn the corner. His press conference again sounded great. Sounded like he's got his head on straight, those type of things. So it's just a lot of unknowns. And I think that because of the fact that it's so many unknowns, that's what I think is making me most uncomfortable about the situation with the wide receiver room, is because I don't know what to expect. I know that Curtis Samuel's fast. I understand that he's ready for his primetime opportunity, but I just have never seen him with that kind of volume. Same thing with Shakir with the volume. And then we just talked about the reclamation project. So after that, everybody else to me is a crapshoot. The shorters, all the guys we've already made fun of, those types of things. So I'm in a situation where those guys, those receivers, I'm really zeroing in on the ones that you talked about. And it just, I think it's the unknown. And this is the time of the year that it's okay to ponder those type of things. The unknown is the thing that is definitely making me most nervous, because we do not have that household name. There is no Stephon Diggs. Even Gabe Davis he didn't do a bunch, but what he did, he was good at. He was a good blocker. He was good on a downfield threat, great on the sidelines. I don't even, we haven't seen Keon Coleman do it in the NFL. So I think that's the main thing for me.
But what contradicts the unknown? I agree. The unknown is true. That's fact. The statistic speculation is speculation. The unknown is fact. The unknown is fact. We don't know what's about. We knew what last team, roughly what we would get from last year's team. And we got it every year. That's why we knew we would get it, because it wasn't unknown. Now it is unknown. That is fact that it is unknown. So how do you contradict the unknown? You have a franchise quarterback, a leader, a leader of men that needs to step up more.
We'll get ready to talk about that in a minute.
Yep. And that's a number of. I'll save. I got some other numbers where it's a number show for me. I'll save those because I think it's gonna hit our next topic a little more. But we have to contradict the unknownness with our strengths, and our strengths are. I'll lead you to the next point.
To 17. It's funny that you said it that way, because I honestly think that 17, it's time for him to take a bigger role. You had talked about it last season, DT, even before the Stephon Diggs stuff even hit the fan. You had talked about your desire to see Josh be more of a dog, or maybe change his approach. When we talked about that, we talked about the fact that maybe not just rah-rah and yelling at guys, but holding guys accountable. One of the things that I always gave credit to Stephon Diggs for was the fact that he held people accountable on the offensive side of the football. Deion Dawkins has spoken to it. Khalil Shakir this very offseason has spoken to how Stephon Diggs kind of laid the groundwork for what the professionalism and what they expect on the offensive side of football, because he really just didn't take anything less than what was required to try to be a dog and to try to bring that type of intensity each and every week and each and every practice. So because of that, I'm looking at 17 in a different way this year, because DT, I think that this is his chance to put his big boy pants on, so to speak. We're entering phase 2 of his career. We're entering this time now where, regardless if he wanted 14 out or not, or it was McBean or whatever the case may be, we don't need to rehash that tonight. The point is that this is now his offense all the way. It was before, but it is. It is definitely for sure now his offense. And even Joe Brady has spoken to the fact that this is Josh's offense. And then Josh says, well, it's really the offense. It's Brady, but it's Josh's run. This is his time to kind of get after it. And I'm wondering if his leadership style is going to change. I just heard Von Miller the other day talk about how he sends Josh Allen pictures of the Lombardi on random days throughout the offseason, and just sends them little clips of other quarterbacks who have won Super Bowls. And I'm wondering how is Josh wired? I remember us talking to Rob and Mama Monday about how he's wired. I'm wondering if he understands the moment and is ready to tap into this new leadership role, because there's really nowhere else to hide. This is now, he's got to take ownership of this whole thing. Regardless of why Stephon Diggs is gone, it doesn't matter at this point. This is your offense. This is your team. You've got to really take the bull by the horns, in my opinion.
Pressure and legacy. We spoke heavy on this last year of Sean McDermott having nowhere to hide, running out of excuses. This is the year he had to do it. And I mean, we can talk about playoff losses in a different episode, but a battered down defense was able to hold them together and be somewhat successful on that side of the ball. Had the magnum opus in the Dolphins game. And the days of Sean McDermott, there's nowhere to hide. It's legacy and pressure for Josh Allen. There's nowhere to hide. You had excuses. You were young. You this or that. There was other things that now there's nowhere to hide. It's your team. If you suck, if the Bills suck, use some. Like there's no more.
Got a good old line this year. Solid old line coming back.
Exactly. The pressure is on 1-7 to be the guy, to be the leader, and for his legacy, he has to know that, and I think he does. Like if we now more than ever, all eyes are on me. I need to be successful with this team and then prove, okay, I'm with the Mahomeses, I'm with the Tom Brady's, I'm with the Peyton Mannings, where I don't need a stacked roster every year because it's not possible in the NFL with the salary cap. I'm not going to have a stacked roster every year, and we can still be successful and win. So that's the legacy and the pressure. The pressure is huge for him to come. The pressure to fulfill the legacy is bigger, obviously, ever, and it is year by year by year. But this is a great example, and all
sounds like a training camp episode. I like that one.
The shields are down. I like that one, DT. The shields are down, and people are swinging, and you can't hide behind the shield. You're gonna have to swing back, and I hope he knows that. I believe in him to know that, and I'm gonna trust that he does.
Ooh, I like that. Pressure equals legacy. And or something, I don't know how you just worded it, but I like it. I like that because of the fact that it's just a situation where, Josh has got to lead from the front. He's got, we talked to Mama Monday about his style and how he's an introvert and how, he doesn't like the limelight and different things like that. Why he likes to get away in the off season and golf and kind of unwind and kind of unplug, so to speak. And I understand that he doesn't like the whole fanfare with the girlfriend and yada, yada, yada. He doesn't like all of the attention. However, there is nowhere to hide for him when it comes on football field. And I thought that, one of the yin and the yangs that why I thought that Stefon Diggs and them went so well together in the beginning of their tenure together was the fact that, Stefon was more of the rah-rah guy. He was more intense in that respect. And then Josh just kind of let his play on the field speak. But now I think that it's almost imperative on 17 to take that leadership role because of the fact that you've got so many young guys in the building. You've got so many fresh faces in the building where McDermott's talking about trust the process. And this is our, Super Bowl caliber, playoff caliber. Well, now you need one of your lieutenants to kind of carry out that message. And it's not going to just have to be on the defense. And it can't just be, Von Miller or the different guys. I mean, Josh and Von are the only captains that are back. I mean, everybody else is gone. So I think that it's almost imperative for him to make sure that he takes that kind of role because of the fact that this is it. This is an important year. And it's funny that you spoke about Peyton Manning or Tom Brady, because that's another thing that I hear is that, Josh doesn't need all these weapons, or not the best weapons, the stack weapons. He's capable enough of just leading this team. He's capable enough of elevating. And I remember when we were on the K-Gun report, they had talked about it. And when we joked with them that, okay, so Josh Allen is just the elevator man. So this is kind of a pivotal year because, there's really nothing else that they could do. This wide receiver room is leaving me, kind of perplexed at DT, where I'm just like, well, then this is your show. How the whole testing of the theory is the quarterback like Brady, when you could just give him anybody, can he elevate those guys? Now we're going to find out if Josh Allen can do the same, because this is just going to be a situation where it'll be, if they're great on offense, it's going to be because 17 really lifted the bar, so to speak. You know what I mean?
Well, here's my next number, Rob. Here's my next number. 4. What does 4 mean? To the Bills fans, this could mean a lot of things, right? But what do you think 4 means from me today? What do you think 4 means today?
4.
I'll give you one guess.
Okay, it's not pass catchers. Man, 4. I'll go with man, I don't know, 4 playoff wins to get to the Super Bowl. I don't know. I have no idea.
That is true. That is true. But four losses by more than one score in the last 5 years. 4 losses by more than one score in the last 5 years. I mean, there's a lot of other factors that go into that. The veteran leadership helped that. But Josh Allen was QB1, willing himself to win a lot of those games. A lot of those games we can put on Josh Allen's back. Not all of them, but a lot of them we can put on his back. And 4 losses in 5 years of one score or more. I mean, they know how to keep it close. They know how to win the games down the stretch. And he has learned that. He's not a rookie anymore. He's in the conversation every game, no matter what. Throw a few blowouts here and there. 4 losses by more than one score in the last 5 years. And that speaks to me. He's ready to step up to this pressure. It might not be as easy, but they're not used to losing. They're not used to getting blown out. They're used to being in the lead. They're used to winning these games. And that does wonders, I think, for confidence for this quarterback. How much more confident can you be as Josh Allen? This dude is not lacking confidence to lead this team. Let's rock. Let's go.
Oh,
Noah.
Noah!
MCC.
Shout out to Noah, our boy. I mean, that's a great stat. I didn't expect you to hit me with that
Yeah.
one. I'm kind of a little bit taken back now. Part of that stat speaks to the dominance of the team. I mean, we've had a
Sure.
great team throughout this 4-year run. But yeah, I mean, Josh is definitely a part of it. So we can't absolve him from credit for that. So okay, I'll chew on that. I'll marinate on that. We are really excited, because again, we've got a long summer ahead of us. So Nickel City Crew, Bills Mafia, we will be taking off when the Bills take off. Again, the Bills will come back next week for OTAs. Remember last year we're infamous with the OTAs, and there should be no drama this year. So we'll report next week from OTAs, and then after that we will take the break when the players take the break. Again, they will break for about a good month and come back for training camp. Training camp starts at the end of July, and then we will start to ramp up for the 2024 season in earnest. We really appreciate all the love and support. Over 500 right now listening to us and watch us on different platforms. We really appreciate you guys. Nickel City Crew, Bills Mafia supporting us. Again, tonight's episode is presented by 26 Shirts. Head on over to 26shirts.com for all of your latest Buffalo Bills themed t-shirts. Again, you've got so many different cool concepts. I was just on there the other day checking out. Shout out to the Godfather, Del Reed, running that site over there. Again, all of the proceeds, the portion of the proceeds go to a great cause for Western New York families that are suffering, that are going through different bad situations. Your purchase does make a difference. So again, head on over to 26shirts.com, the official Bills Mafia podcast network that we simulcast on here, Buffalo fan base. We love it, man. So DT, as we transition a little bit, it's funny because as we put a bow on Josh Allen, it was funny, something hit me the other day during a Twitter argument was that, I almost think that there was I don't know if it's false hope or what it is, but it's just leaving me perplexed about Brady. When Brady took over, we were backs against the wall. You know what I mean? Our backs against the wall. The team 6-6, whatever the case may be. We just lose that horrible game to Denver, and then they fired Dorsey. When Brady takes over, it was a situation where he ran the ball so much, and it was such a different approach to what we had seen before. But then we started winning. And then one of the arguments I get with people on Twitter is, well, that proved that we didn't need Steph Diggs and yada, yada, yada. And we don't need to argue about that. The whole point of it, the bigger point was that I'm not sure if this is Brady's MO or if this is something that he was doing because he had to perform emergency surgery. You know what I mean? And he just was in a situation where he's like, I got to change something up. Something's not working. Let's flip the script. And he did flip the script. And they went on obviously on that win streak, and it resulted in us winning the division and getting ourselves at a home playoff game. My thing, DT, about it is that I'm wondering now if did Brandon Beane and Sean McDermott, did they really honestly think that they didn't need a wide receiver one anymore? The only reason I can really ask that, DT, is because Breen did not go out and get a wide receiver one after he traded Diggs. So because of that, are they buying into that theory that we just don't need a wide receiver one? Or is it just the fact that they're cutting their ties, cleaning up their cap situation so that they can go hard in 2025? I've heard different arguments on WGR to the contrary to either one, and I'm wondering where you sit on it, because I'm wondering if they really thought, because I can't think that they are that dumb. That's just my opinion. I don't think that you can look at the success that we've had the last 4 years when we had Steph Diggs and how he transformed the offense with Josh Allen, and then say, because of a half a season where we didn't really feature him that much, that all of a sudden, well, we really don't need that dog. We really don't need that type of featured wide receiver one. I just think that would be horrible planning. And if it's just a situation where you're loading up for 2025, I can get with that. I can understand that. But I'm not really interested in a running game offense. I'm just not interested in it. And I'm just wondering where your thoughts are on it, because it scares me sometimes when I hear Bills Mafia talk about the fact that, well, we went down the stretch and we proved that we didn't need Diggs and stuff like that. And I'm like, you need a wide receiver one in this league, and every team is trying to get one. You just seen how Justin Jefferson just got the bag, and Tyreek Hill wants a new contract, and Waddle got paid. Like, everybody understands. CeeDee Lamb wants his money. You need a wide receiver one. Hopefully the Bills feel the same, in my opinion.
I'd agree it's the latter. I mean, you look at we talked about it a couple in our last episode in the schedule release breakdown, right? Every week, we're teeing up against every team's got 1-2 studs at wide receiver. Even the worst teams we play have studs at wide receiver. So I think that's the way of the league and, the way it has to go. So I think it's definitely the latter. I don't think they're completely writing off wide receiver one. I think they picked Keon Coleman to be that guy. They hope he's that guy. I don't
Okay.
know if it's happening, this year, but I think they didn't pick him to not be the number one guy eventually. And if he isn't, he isn't, he'd bust out, and
Right.
that's a chance you take. But
Or
I
he's
think
he's a great number 2, and then you need to supplement next year and
yeah,
and grab yourself an
go
IU
get somebody
or
big next year. But I agree. I think because of that, like they can't be blind to it. Just because they won a couple games to sneak into the back door of the playoffs last year without really utilizing that wide receiver one, if you will. I mean, Stephon Diggs was still the leading pass catcher in a few of those games that they won. It's not like he didn't play in those 6 games, right?
True.
So the fact of the every team you play has stud receivers, and they know this, and they're kind of moving on, and this might be the transition year where they had to bite down a little bit, but
Right.
fill that room up as much as they could. The best players will play. We'll get opportunity where it needs to, and if it doesn't work out next year, you go out and you make the splash harder. And I think I'd agree. They can't be. Even though I said, we're trading for Ayuk, there's an ace in the sleeve. You can't look at this league and think you don't need a number one.
I mean, well, I know that Brandon Beane said it, before the draft, and I thought that it was a more of a tongue-in-cheek thing. I thought that he wasn't just trying to give away his draft position and things like that. And obviously, they their first pick of the draft that happened to be in the second round, they take Keon Coleman. So I do think that they understand that they need one. They made Beane is the one that made the trade for Diggs and gave him an extension a couple times. So I understand that. I think that he understands that the wide receiver one really is necessary. I just think of a situation where whatever the situation was, it was untenable. So they bit the bullet, and for the cap purposes. And then, like you said, next year, I would hope that he's going to be back in the market looking for that guy, regardless if the Keon Coleman turns out to be great or not. I would like to supplement him with another guy in 2025. So when it comes to the 2024 team, I just wanted to know what you thought, because I hear a lot of people talking about the fact that, that second half stretch was indicative of what we should be getting ready to see. And I don't desire a running game offense. I'm sorry.
No,
I understand that
I agree.
sometimes the pendulum swings back and forth, and they talk about how the league is cyclical in that way. And, now there's 2 high shells. So that means you should, run on a lighter box. And I get it, but you don't have to get carried away with it. You still have 17 back there. I couldn't imagine turning into, Rex Ryan 3 yards in a cloud of dust. I just couldn't imagine the Bills thinking that that's the way. When were they? What do I always say, DT? When were they at the height of their pimping, so to speak? The height of their peak, the height of their pimping was,
and they were spinning it.
It was when they were spinning that thing,
Yeah.
man. So I can't imagine.
I mean, with this team, though, as I talked of all these guys having to step up, the run game will have to be good this year to be successful.
More important.
That's inevitable. The run game does have to be good, not mediocre. The run game has to be good this year to be successful, because it's got to be something that there has to be that other
balance
option,
where they can lean on
option. And like you said earlier with Brady, maybe it was just the emergency surgery. I hope that was the case, right? Because that is a great thing for worst case scenario. If that was worst case scenario, we got to start doing it. Good. We have that in our back pocket as worst case scenario.
Okay.
So that's kind of how I saw that. Emergency surgery was a great word for that, of going in and, this isn't our MO, but sometimes if we got to do it to win, we can. And I think that run game has to be good to do that. I believe James Cook's getting better every year. I have high hopes for the rookie, Ray Davis, and Johnson coming back for another year. So I think the run game needs to be good. I don't think we're shifting to a run offense because
Thank
only
God.
really a couple teams could ever do that. You need a bell cow, running back, and they just don't make them anymore. Derrick Henry's probably it.
Right.
And every
I was
other
say
team
Baltimore
has 2 or 3 guys that run it around a little bit. And Christian McCaffrey isn't your, a running back. He is, but he's everything else as well.
Right.
So the run game, I don't think we're going all in, but it needs to be good. It needs to be better, and it's got to supplement this team being a little weaker, if you will, in losing their top 2 dogs. They have to make up for it, and the run game is also a good way to do that.
Well, I appreciate it. DT, as I put in the comment section, I mean, he always is talking off the ledge. I gave my Bills Mafia card to the lady at the front desk. I go down, I lay down on the couch, and every single time Dr. Dump Truck just, he eases me a little bit. He helps me out. Now, as we begin to wrap up tonight, DT, I have to be honest. I have to be on brand. I have to be authentic. I have a confession. I have lied to Nickel City Crew for the first time. In our schedule release show, it's funny because like, I get so excited for that episode. I get so excited when the schedule release comes out, and I kind of let you get me swept up in the hype of it. DT, Nickel City Crew, Bills Mafia. I have my first confession. I lied to Nickel City Crew for the first time. I do not think the Bills are going to go 12-5. I see this more as a 10-7 team, and that's really what was in my heart. And I felt like I had to give the confession. So please forgive me, Bills Mafia. Please forgive me, Nickel City Crew. I didn't lie like on purpose. I lied because I just got swept up in the emotion. DT, I've struggled, and you have been with me throughout this struggle. I've struggled with enjoying the seasons, and we've talked about it many times about how I'll skip and I'll go fast forward to the playoffs because I just want to know how it ends. I want to know if we're going to get a chance to get back to that Super Bowl. That's all I want. I just want to go back to the Super Bowl, and I can let the chips fall from there. Win or loss, I'm going to be happy with the fact that we got there. Obviously, I'm not going to be happy that we lose the Super Bowl, but I'm going to be happy that we're representing the conference. I'm an adult. I get a chance to experience the festivities as an adult. That's all I want from my experience. DT, I don't think that I have to worry about enjoying the season because of the fact that my expectations are just different right now. I'm deathly scared of this wide receiver room. I don't think that we have enough juice. And because of that, I'm now in a situation where I am going to have an easier time following the team along every week because I don't expect this to end in the Super Bowl. I think for the last 4 years, DT, now, ever since AFC Championship game. AFC Championship game, we got outclassed. You know what I mean? They beat us. They punked us. It was it was nothing on coaching. It was nothing on McDermott or anything like that. They were better than us. I know we had some wimpy field goals, but they took it to us. Every single season after that, DT, excuse me, every single season after that, I thought the Bills could win the Super Bowl, and it was legit. It wasn't, drought Bills, Rob, talking and like, we're going to make the playoffs, and you're not really believing that shit, but you're just saying it because that's what you're supposed to say. And we're playing Tom Brady, and like, man, we're going to beat him today, and you know he's getting ready to curb stomp you, but you say it just to say it. These last years, DT, I have always felt the Buffalo Bills can win the Super Bowl this year. I think we should already have at least one on 13 seconds and maybe another one. DT, I just don't see it in the cards. And I think that because I'm lowering my expectations, I think for me personally, this is me personally, I think it's going to give me a better experience this year because I do not expect it to end with a Super Bowl berth. I don't expect it to end really with an AFC Championship game berth. Divisional round, we're used to that. I could see that, or wild card. I just want the Bills to get in the playoffs, and then it would really be like almost those Giants vibes, like, let's just see what happens. And then the Giants won it as a 6 seed that one year. David Tyree. I mean, I'm almost in a situation where I'm okay with just getting the playoffs, and then I can just sit back and see what happens because I just don't have this. I just don't have the same Super Bowl aspirations, man. Brandon Beane took something out of me. I'm sorry.
Well, Rob, that's fair, man. That's fair, but
I'm being honest.
I disagree. I still think this team can win the Super Bowl. I can't genuinely sit here and tell you that I think, like I'm more confident than I have been in previous years, but I do think this team can win the Super Bowl because
this year, 2024.
Yes, exactly. Because of what we talked about earlier. 4 losses of one score or more in 5 years, a defense that it doesn't matter who's out there can hold, bend, don't break, no matter what.
Right.
And
That's
the
some good quarterbacks playing
of Josh Allen stepping up and making things happen. You say 10-7, that's one game difference of last year when they were the 2 seed in the playoffs, Rob, with 2 home games, so that's one game difference of, and I think it might actually be healthy for Mafia to kind of take a step and lower expectations a little bit because in society nowadays that this is like you can't ever watch a good movie anymore because you got Netflix and HBO and you have 1,000 movies at your fingertips, and so you're always looking, I got to get that great movie, and then you watch it and you're like, that was kind of a dud. And we expect the Bills now, the last 4 years, we expect the Bills to go out and win by 30 every game, and if they don't, it's like DEFCON 5, right? Like it's nuts. Like we're 6-6. The city's dark, man.
We were going through it too, though.
And we're not far removed from a drought of 17 years where we didn't even sniff the playoffs. And I'm not saying,
but we've talked about how it was okay to raise expectations back in season 2.
Yes,
so it's okay.
But I think it's healthy for us and for the fan base to enjoy it. And if we beat going into this week, we're kind of outmatched against I don't know, let's call any
San
team
Francisco
we play, we got San Fran. We're probably outmatched. If we go in and beat them by 20. we're a lot more pumped
That
about
feels
that than
better. Yeah.
last year of like, oh, we should have beat them by 20. So I think it's good
Right.
for us to kind of bring it down a little so we get excited a little more. You know, once you are
I
away
agree.
from something
I
a
agree.
while and then it comes back, you enjoy it more. So I think it'll be healthy for you to enjoy this season a little bit. And I still expect them to be great. And your
I
projection
think
of
they'll be.
12-5 goes
I think
to
they'll be
10 and
good.
7.
Yeah.
That's one game away from the 2 seed last year. You know, so I'm right there with you. I'm not as confident as I was, but I still think this team can win the Super Bowl.
Wow. Super Bowl. The 24 Bills, like with
Yes,
all the
yes.
subtractions, all the cap medicine that we had to swallow. You still think that we are in a situation where we can actually go get it. Go get one. Or I mean,
If
even
we're
just
10 and
just
7,
go get there.
if we're 10 and 7, we're in the dance. If we're 11 and 6, we're in the dance.
Yeah. And
If
all you
we're in
need
the
is a ticket.
playoffs,
All you need is a ticket.
I believe in us.
Wow. Yeah, it's not that I don't believe. I just I'm having a tough time just trying to mapping it out and how, I think that that's what it is. It was just so clear these last couple of years. Like, okay, let's try to get that 1 seed. And that was something that we were never able to get, but okay, let's try to get that 1 seed. Let's try to beat out Kansas City. Okay, and then what was it last year? Okay, well, let's just get Kansas City at home. And then that happened. And then we still lost. So it was just a situation where I had to give my confession because after looking at the schedule, I'm like, man, this is a tough schedule with a lot of tough quarterbacks on it. I know that I don't believe that 12-5 is really the record. I got to admit to Nickel City Crew that it's more like 10 and 7 to me with the unknown wide receiver room. And then, like you said, you still can get in the dance that way. And it's a situation where I think I'm just going to be more calm this year because of the fact that I don't have that Super Bowl angst this season. And because of that, I think that it's going to allow me to enjoy the season much more than I have these last couple of years, because I've been struggling with it. I've been struggling with it. We've talked about it on different shows. We've talked about it with Mama Monday and others that have joined the show as well. I don't want to, with Scott from K Gun Report. Like, I don't want to just skip over the year. This year, I don't think it's going to be hard for me not to do that because of the fact that I would be surprised as hell if the Bills represent the conference in the Super Bowl. I would be so shocked. I just have so many questions about this offense in respects to Joe Brady. I think it's Joe Brady. We are going to dig down on him, Bills Mafia, Nickel City Crew, in training camp. We've got some great episodes coming up for you in training camp, some topics we want to hit. We always do offense, defense every single year. Did you hear Bobby Babbage, DT, the other day?
Yeah.
That motherfucker, I was like, I play for you, coach. Like, put me in. I'll run through the wall. I was like, shit. Like, I just liked his energy. I like the we actually did an episode about Dorsey when he was coming into his OC role, and how I led off the show talking about how just because you've never done a job before doesn't mean you can't do it. It just means you've never done it. And I mean, when I heard Bobby Babbage, that shit gave me chills. I was like, that's exactly the energy I was talking about when Dorsey took over. So we'll see if he calls plays or not. We'll see if McDermott, I'm sure he's going to give him an opportunity maybe in preseason to maybe get a game under his belt to see how he feels with it, how he does with that. But DT and I will be back next week. Again, OTAs, mini camp will be next week for the Bills, and then they break for about a month or so until late July when training camp at St. John Fisher ramps back up. We will take the break with the Bills players as well, and we will ramp back up when training camp comes as well. We've got a lot of topics. We got to hit offense, defense. I got to get my McDermott's talk in. We got to talk about him at least one time this summer as we approach the year. But I really liked your thoughts today, DT. You definitely talked me off a ledge. You're definitely more optimistic than I am in respects to the fact that of the wide receiver room. I like your stats tonight. So way to bring the stats. It'll just be interesting to see. I understand what everybody's saying would spread the ball around. Sometimes I just wonder, like, you guys all expect 5 guys to get 50 catches. Like, that's like you're asking a lot. There's only one ball, and then that means that there's some high production hikes for people that we just haven't seen if they can do it yet. And that's, I think, the unknown part of it is the only thing that gives me trepidation. But hey, I mean, that's why they play the games on the field, as Chris Berman would say. So I'm down with it, DT. I appreciate you, man. I paid a lady at the front desk. I appreciate it, man. I'm off the ledge. I'm off the ledge.
And it really comes down to the genuine belief in 1-7 and the backing of McDermott being able to hold that defense together consistently. That where you don't even have to worry about that side of the ball. So that's where I am. So my last number, it was a show of numbers tonight. My last number is 19. My last number is 19. I won't make you guess that one. I'll tell you. The 19 in victories last year. Of multi-score victories. Okay.
Okay.
You could erase 19 touchdowns and still have the same record, still have the same amount of wins, right? So the game's like, I'm not saying I
Really?
want next year to win by 1 touchdown
Right.
every game for our wins, but we were playing with house money. You know, we're running teams up by 30 points on a regular basis a lot of
Right.
times. That's production from Stephon Diggs. That's production from Gabe Davis. You know, that if just to kind of bring that number
Wow.
back down, we
19?
didn't need the stats we had last year. We didn't need to have our same record. 19
Wow.
touchdowns could be erased in those games. I mean, that stretch weeks 2, 3, and 4, we won, you know, we averaged 28 points or 29
Yeah.
and a half
Yeah.
points victory.
Mhm.
That's 4 touchdowns, you know, a game right there. So 19 touchdowns we didn't need, could have had the same amount of wins in those wins. So it's
Wow.
just another
DT
point
did
to
his
bring
homework
it
tonight.
down.
I
Yep,
like that.
yep.
It's about to be summer. My Kings got their last day of school tomorrow, and DT still doing homework. I like that, man. You're not in
Yep.
summer school, man. You passed. That's pretty good. 19. Listen to that. Chew on that stat, Bills Mafia. Chew on that stat, Nickel City Crew. 19 touchdowns we could have taken away and still had the same record.
Still the same record.
Wow. So DT's trying to say get ready for less scoring and still hopefully have the same result.
Still finding a way to win.
Find a way. Doesn't McDermott say find a way? Okay. No doubt. I'm with you on that, DT. I appreciate you tonight, man, as always. Listen, out there, Bills Mafia, we'll be back at you, like I said, next week for mini camp, and then we will break for summer, and we'll be back for training camp. Please, out there, spread love, not hate. Enjoy your summer, Bills Mafia. We'll see you next week for mini camp before we break. Hit them with a Go Bills, DT. I mean, these
Go
Wild Bills
Bills.
thoughts out loud, man.
Go
Go
Bills.
Bills. Oh, DT. He came with the numbers game tonight. I like that. We appreciate all the
Go
viewers
Bills.
tonight, man. We appreciate you guys on all the different platforms. Shout out to you guys, man. We appreciate the love here at Nickel City Crew. Enjoy your night. NBA Finals tonight, DT. I am so excited. Me and Nate, we cannot wait. He's like, Dad, can I stay up? I'm like, hell, tomorrow's the last day of school. You can stay up all night, man, and watch the game with me. So can't wait, man. I dread the fact, like you just said earlier in the show, I dread the fact when NBA and hockey will be over because all you got is baseball. And it's like that one Kermit, the Kermit gif where he's standing outside of the radio window just looking like, when is football coming back? Like that's literally going to be us when the NBA and the NHL are off. So enjoy the finals. I hope they go 7 games all in overtime. That would be great. Same thing with hockey, man.
Yeah, hell yeah, man.
Super
Yeah, I'm pumped. It'll be 2 good series. 2 good series.
Absolutely. It should be, man, for sure, man. Enjoy your night. Bills Mafia, Nickel City Crew. Peace.